Hello and welcome along. It is half time in the Dons opening premiership match of the season. The Dons leading 1-0 thanks to Nicky Devlin's header from a Jamie McGrath corner. Phil, you're joining me as both of us have been unlucky enough not to go to the game tonight. Let's just start then. First 45 minutes. What's been your thoughts so far?
I think we've looked quite good. I think we kind of grew into the first sort of few minutes of the game. Saints had a few chances, but I think we've looked good. Miovski's looked sharp. McGrath's looked sharp. No complaints so far with how certainly like we said last episode. First half goal, which is quite nice.
Yeah, I know. Quite fitting and quite deserving. Paul Reiki, good to have you joining us in the halftime analysis, probably avoiding the likes of Boyd and McFadden's analysis instead. He says it's been a good first half, but should be 2 or 3-0. That's probably the one maybe concern that maybe some of us do have, is the fact that it is only 1-0. But on the other hand, Phil, I am glad that we are going in 1-0 up because given the way from probably the 10th minute to the 20th minute, we were creating the chances, but we weren't taking them. Esther Sokler in particular with that one-on-one, albeit from the resulting corner, we go 1-0 up.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Sokler, I think just when he's got too much time to think about it is when he's at his worst. If he gets all the time in the world, his head just goes, and I think that was seen that one-on-one. But I think his link up with Miovski this evening so far has been superb. I think I agree with a little bit of what Sutton said at times about he just needs to show a little bit more desire. But yeah, he's getting into positions to make the chances. So I think there should be more to come if we keep up how we're going and the Saints having to come out a little bit.
Yeah, Chris Mainland saying this Miovski guy looks good, like a new signing. Chris Sutton saying as well in the early stages of the match that he wasn't sure Bojan Miovski was going to be sharp enough, fit enough, only having 45 minutes in the tank, Phil. But what does Chris Sutton know? Because, boy, he's looked sharp. He's looked very good. Movement off the ball, that pass in the build-up to Sokler's one-on-one as well. The shot from 30 yards where I was screaming for him to play it out to Jamie McGrath, but he cracks it off the bar instead. He's looking good, isn't he?
He's just a phenomenally talented footballer. And it is one of those things where, we are speaking about him being away, but by God, do we need a player of that quality? Because like I say, just everything just looks so silky and so easy.
Very much so. Craig94 saying that he's been impressed by everyone. A lot more urgency. Can tell Thielen's tactics are starting to rub off. I think that's absolutely true. The urgency and the way we've been passing the ball, getting the ball up the pitch, has been very impressive. Slightly for me, Shaden Morris has been a little bit frustrating. There was a couple of occasions where I was wanting him to play the pass and he's got caught in possession, but those couple of instances aside, I think he's looked sharp in his bursts of getting into the box. Probably agree with Chris Sutton that he needs to work on his final product, that chance he had just before half-time, putting down the throat of Josh Ray instead. But all in all, I think there's lots to be positive from that first 45, isn't there, Phil?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's sort of rubbing off into the stands. I think the atmosphere has been good from the travelling support. They're definitely quite vocal on the TV anyway, and yeah, hopefully, like I say, just come out second half and keep that little bit of urgency. I don't know if I'd be inclined to jump to a change right away at half time, but yeah, just I think we really need to come out and try and stick the needle in a little bit. St Johnstone have had a few chances, so yeah, no, like I say, no complaints, no complaints.
No complaints, but that 1-0 lead always feels tense. St Johnstone maybe growing into the game they started well, certainly first 10 minutes, but they were growing into the game in the last 5 minutes of that half, creating chances. They do look a threat from set pieces, balls into the box in particular. It is giving me a bit of concern, but how much is your concern being eased by Dimitar Mitov and his ability to come for balls when they're being swung into the box? What a difference that makes to what we had before.
Well, that was the words I was exactly ready to use, Glenn. What a difference. Because, I mean, yeah, just a keeper who's actually, a little bit alive to a situation and not afraid to, command his box a little bit. I know I caught a little bit of flack for saying Malloy had a few mistakes in him, but I think he's looked looked really solid tonight. I think maybe at times him and Ruby are getting maybe just a bit too tight to Kim Pioka, or however you pronounce his name, just because he does seem to be St Johnston's kind of bright spark, and I think just with his turn of pace and his quick feet, I'd maybe like them maybe not to be as aggressive, especially with Ruby potentially running the line by booking after his early foul. So, but no, the back lines look really solid. Mackenzie as well, obviously Devlin getting the goal with a deft header. But yeah, like I said, there's no areas where we're looking a bit dodgy. Everyone's kind of playing their part, which I think is a bit of a staple of Jimmy Ball to come, really. Players being accountable and kind of filling a role that he's sort of etched out for them within his squad.
Yeah, and I think you kind of touched on that centre back pairing. I'm glad you mentioned Malloy, because I know Adam Gould's been giving us a bit of stick for maybe some of our opinions on Malloy, but he has looked very assured in obviously his first taste of Premiership football. Rubezic, look, we know what we're going to get with him. A no-nonsense defender that maybe has a moment here or there, but Malloy has been there to sweep up if there is I guess, in inverted commas, mistake or a moment, maybe I should say. David McLennan, one of our members here on the YouTube channel, saying that the defence looks reasonably solid as well. I think that just kind of backs up what you've said there, Phil, on top of what we've commented on Mitov as well. Ewan Grant, another one of the members of the show. Good to have both of you along, tuning into our halftime analysis from the game today. Lovely stuff, rapid on the counter and calm in defence. I do think, though, Phil, we have looked quite calm in defence. It hasn't been nervy, and that's kind of maybe what I'm kind of speaking about in that reassurance from Gavin Malloy. If there is a little bit of nervousness, it hasn't seeped into Malloy's play as such. Ewan going on to say, might just go with the t-shirt and blazer combo at work tomorrow as a wee nod to the handsome Cheel in the dugout. And I am a big fan of Jimmy high-fiving every single member in that dugout every time we score a goal as well.
Like I say, I think just his presence has been something that the club has much needed. I know a lot of us were really infatuated by the piece that Sky put out on Twitter this morning with Mark Benson interviewing him at a weirdly sunny Aberdeen coastline. Exactly. So yeah, I think just the way he speaks and just the sort of presence he brings. It's much, and again that probably oozes into the sort of calmness that we seem to be showing as well. He's not losing the head or getting overly on anybody early on. So I think it just allows players to sort of go out and play, which is quite nice.
Yeah, I do agree with you, though he does really pull off a t-shirt and a blazer very well. As we look towards the second half, Alistair Penman saying we've got to come out the trap second half during the League Cup matches. I think that's probably what we did. Hopefully start the second half on the front foot and score a quick couple of goals to put it to bed. To be honest, even if we just scored one goal early in the first 10 minutes of that second half and just kind of maybe the St Johnstone heads will go down, but probably is important to not kind of sit back, and I don't really feel we're going to see us sit back at 1-0.
No, I don't think that's Jimmy's style. And as well, like we've spoken about before, I think that sort of quick fire second half is something, at least in the sort of early goings of the season, that could be quite beneficial to us, sort of catching teams sort of unaware and really try, like I say, stick the knife in a little bit and kill a game off. So hopefully, like I say, we've got a strong enough bench to make the changes. If we need to, just to keep that sort of pace in the front line.
I'm not sure if I'd say we've got a strong bench, but we've got pace and options.
Strong enough. It's strong enough, I think. We've got likes of Mbappe that could come on in the 10 should it be needed. But yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in your thoughts about the sort of how he set up that sort of front three.
Well, I love the fact that he's gone and played Miovski. We spoke about it. Had we gone into this game and Miovski was still here, he had to be starting. So I love that he's done that. Had that effort from 30 yards gone in, you could have added another 5 million to his price tag. And I was laughing at Ian Crocker saying that it's a fixture Aberdeen always look forward to given their record in the game. I don't know any Aberdeen fan that looks forward to an Aberdeen St Johnstone game. It's normally a terrible game of football, but this has been the complete opposite. We've set up to be positive. We've set up to take the game to St Johnstone, and hopefully it continues into the second half. And like Michael Taylor says, we really should be more than a goal up. Hopefully it just doesn't come back to bite us.
Yeah, well, I wonder if, part of that is, I mean, I might be in the minority here, but I feel like Miovski's maybe going a bit too wide at times. I'd maybe like to see him hold himself through the middle a bit more just to try and, like I say, get that goal one to, help up his value. But also as well, I just think having him through the middle a bit more would just help us kind of reinstate that sort of, I don't want to say dominance, but, sort of that sort of clear-cut clinical finisher in the middle, and to kind of make Saints think a little bit more, because there seems to be a lot of space through there just with the sort of room stoppers getting on the break.
Yeah, I certainly like the way he's linked up the play from that midfield to Esther Sokler, but I guess it's been commented on Sokler's sharpness. He should have scored that one-on-one, really, but it'll come. Hopefully, it's been a few times this season. But that is our review, halftime analysis. I'll link this up to, we are going to come back at full time and jump on and do a full time live reaction. And for those that are on audio, this will just link to the next section and we'll put it out as one episode. Robert saying he's liking the halftime reviews. Hopefully it continues. It will continue for the games that are being broadcast live, and we're not attending, of course. If we are at the games, they won't. But we just thought with the first game of the season, me and you not in attendance, Phil, would come on and do something to save you all listening to Chris Boyd and James McFadden. So thank you very much to those of you that have tuned in, whether you're a member or you're not. Leave a like on the video, and hopefully we see many of you back for the full-time reaction, and hopefully 3 points for the Dons. So for the second half, come on, you ready? 3 points for the Dons. So for the second half, come on, you ready? 3 points for the Dons. So for the second half, come on, you ready? 3 points for the Dons. So for the second half, come on, you ready? 3 points for the Dons. So for the second half, come on, you ready? 3 points for the Dons. So for the second half, come on, you ready? 3 points for the Dons. So for the second half, come on, you ready? 3 points for the Dons. So for the second half, come on, you ready? 3 points for the Dons. So for the second half, come on, you ready? 3 points for the Dons. So for the second half, come on, you ready? 3 points for the Dons. So for the second half, come on, you ready? 3 points for the Dons. So for the second half, come on, you ready? 3 points for the Dons. So for the second half, come on, you ready? 3 points for the Dons. So for the second half, come on, you ready? 3 points for the Dons.